first live show. Everybody, welcome to the DM and Friends. I am DM Angelo, and I have a bunch of my buddies here. We'll introduce in a second. But yeah, thanks for joining in the show. We're going to talk. We're going to have a weekly recap of our Hommlet Dark campaign. And for those of you guys that don't know what that is, I'm sure nobody does, but hopefully you'll get to know. It's a campaign that's been going on several years now, and I think we are on episode 78. And I have a couple of the players here. Basically, the Hommlet Dark campaign is in Greyhawk. Obviously, I'm a Greyhawk guy, and it is 576 common year, which is when the Hommlet village of Hommlet was originally ran. And I started this one in particular out with T0 from Joe Block, and that was the journey to Hommlet, which was a good segue into this. We'll go into that more, but the village of Hommlet, which turned into the Temple of Elemental Evil, and now our group is following some clues to the slavers and almost getting ready to finish A1. This week, you guys came up to the point where you're almost at the end of it, getting ready to hit the bad boys at the very end of it, coming on the slave pits. So anyways, I want to introduce some fine gentlemen here.
Where?
Yeah, and us.
Yeah, where are they? So let's start out with you, Michael. You play, well, tell us who you are, who you play in the group, and how long you've been with it, and just,
Okay, well, I've only been with the group, 3 months now? 4 months?
No, it's been longer than that.
Probably. I haven't been counting.
Your fifth level. How is it from 3 months?
Well, and that's also losing a level.
That was.
I play Irving the Reluctant, who's a paladin variant called a Lion. It's from Dragon magazine from a few years ago. He was originally going to be a cleric, maybe working in a library, but then he got chosen by St. Cuthbert to be a paladin, and he got a mace of St. Cuthbert that has spirits attached to it from its former users, who try to guide Irving and make him more paladin-y. He also has a familiar, since lions can cast both clerical and magic user spells.
Yep.
He has a familiar, as a hare named Harvey.
A big hair, by the way.
Big hair.
Yeah.
Big hair. 80s hair.
80s hair. By the way, that's from Dragon Magazine 106. I'm going to mispronounce this. The plethora of dragons. Lions are what? Lawful neutral, and it just fits great in with St. Cuthbert. But yeah, what a great class that is. Yeah,
it's been pretty fun. I kind of miss the not having the laying on of hands ability, but I do have clerical and magic user spells, so that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and I think the group met you at the Temple of the Church of St. Cuthbert in a village of Hommlet and recruited you there, if I remember. So, yeah, I think Chris's character was a big influence on getting you into the group.
I thought he was here before me, although just barely.
Yeah.
Because next month I'm coming up on 1 year in the campaign. So
no, I know I haven't been here a year. Been playing a year with you.
Yeah, you Chris, your character came in right before him. So yeah, you guys it's been a minute. Time flies when we're having fun.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So Chris, tell us about your character, Terry Orr, the cleric.
That's right, because he's holy and so he's a holy Terror. Okay. And actually, Holy Terror was a character run by a very good friend of mine back in the 80s. So Pete, wherever you are, Holy Terror rides again. But he actually is supposedly a parentless, his parents having been killed, raised by the church. But by the same token, he's therefore not, he's a slightly rebellious holy man in that when everybody wants to kill the prisoners, Terrior will say, no, of course you don't want to kill the prisoners. I am, by the way, easily distracted in case, there's a shiny thing I can go look at or something. And then Irving, of course, will jump in and say, how dare you? And yeah, because Irving is very straight-laced that way. But and I don't know, I've become a little bit more holy in the passage of the last couple of levels. But yes, mostly because those prayer beads you let me get. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
Hugely overpowered item, prayer bead.
For what level is your character? He's 6th?
7th.
7th. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And
that's what
and there's never enough healing spells, but whatever.
That letting you cast 7th level spells? I mean 4th level spells?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. So. I don't think you have to roll to turn a zombie.
Well, and somewhere there's that wonderful video song of the command spell battle between myself and the evil high priestess, who was pretty hot, according to our GM.
Very hot. Yeah.
Where we both tried to get each other to strip with a command spell saying undress. And all of us kept making our saving throws till both of us ran out of prayers or magic to use. And so then I maced her in the face, which I didn't really want to, but I did.
Wasn't she the one that was the cleric of Grumps? Yes, that you guys met entering the temple of in Highport. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun battle. Yeah. I'll link it in the show notes for the blog post on it. It was actually pretty funny. Too bad we didn't tape that or something. That was definitely a memorable moment. So yeah. Chris's character Terrior has the you for some reason like to cast command and tell people to take their clothes off, because I think the last time you did that was an ogre, and
he wasn't wearing much. Yeah,
he wasn't wearing much, so it didn't take too long.
The neat thing about commanding somebody to undress is generally if it's a caster of some kind, whether it's a evil high priestess or a mage or whatever else, the first thing they'll do is undo their belt, which of course drops all of their spell components and things to the ground. If they're wearing it all in a backpack, the backpack has to come off first, because they really are only going to undress for 6 seconds. But by the time the 6 seconds is over, anything they might use to come at the party with something nasty like a fireball is lying on the floor around them.
Yeah.
So while it's not terribly debilitating, it really reduces the power of especially a antagonistic caster of some sort. It really knocks them back a peg. And by the time the rest of our group, by the time you're knocked back 1 peg, you don't get a 2nd peg. And that's
the thing about command, if you're telling somebody to what if they're wearing plate mail?
They're going to release all the straps on their plate mail. In order to do that, they're either going to sheath or drop their weapon.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that it would take longer than a round to.
They may not get farther than like releasing the straps, dropping their weapon, and maybe taking off a breastplate. So so their armor class went from 2 to 4 or something, but they're unarmed. Their armor class is down, and they're going.
It's almost like getting surprised.
Yeah.
Pretty
much. And by then, like Irving will run in there and just split them from nave to chops.
Yeah. Irving's got a big mace.
Well, he does now.
There it is.
Wow.
That mace. That's a big mace. Yeah. All right. Well, so on to Ryan. When Ryan, I think, has been in this campaign the longest, you actually with a different character who died. You were with us from the beginning, from day one in Journey of Hommlet, and which for those of you guys that aren't familiar with that small adventure, started in Narwhal and makes its way all the way, all the way to the village of Hommlet. It's a 14-day trip, guiding a caravan, dodging bandits and cultists and all kinds of things and stuff like that. And Ryan's character, which you can talk about, but he was involved in that. And I think from day one, right? You've been with this, from day one.
Yeah, it's been about
2023, I think.
Yeah. That was Greyhawk the Mad. He didn't last very long.
Yeah.
And now I'm on Dog, the level 6 Ranger, Champion Llama, Marley Ranger.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But Dog often leads the party.
Yeah, Dog does a lot of leading in the party. He's up in the front, tracking, looking at the floor, and using his spidey senses to figure out what's up ahead. So yeah, that's 3 of the. You guys are 3 of the. I don't know. We got 7 players, I think, in this group. And by the way, this game is played on Zoom every Monday night. We all join hands from across the states and roll dice together. Not my preferred method of playing, but I'm out in Montana, and I'm the only one out in Montana. Ryan is all the way back east on the East Coast. Chris, you're in Wisconsin. Michael's the closest to me, but still 6 hours away in Salt Lake City. We have another gentleman that's on the West Coast in Washington. We have Eric, who is in LA. And am I missing anybody?
Where's Tiger?
Oh, and Fred, of course. Fred is online right now. Fred's in Arizona. So who are you also saying, Chris?
Oh, Tiger. You mentioned Tiger?
Yeah, he's in Washington. Yeah.
I'm getting old. I missed it. Sorry.
Yeah. Excuse me. So we're all, like I said, not my favorite medium for playing D&D, but we make it happen. And we started in Discord and moved over to Zoom. I feel like shameless plug. I feel Zoom does a little better on the audio, especially when you have a higher crowd. Obviously Discord's got some cool bells and whistles, dice rollers and all that, but now we just roll and I don't need to see dice, and you guys can see it on dice. So excuse me. Woo, you need a drink. By the way, it's not orange, Chris. It's not orange season here in Montana. These are the worst oranges I bought. Yeah.
We all do need more sound effects, though. We miss those from Discord.
We do. Sound effects in Discord are fun. That's definitely something that we got. Yeah, things like that. And we have little, and of course, dog.
There you go.
But anyways, so this adventure, this is kind of the room that we ended up entering this last time. Those of you guys familiar with the A1, it's a slave pit. It's kind of a puzzle where you got to get across. There was a lot of dex checks involved. Irving, I think, was the only one that fell in the pit. Rest of the group, Fred moved forward. Fred is the dwarf who ended up taking the lead there and getting attacked by the drones. And it was a good time. I mean, and then moving from there, you guys got to free a bunch of prisoners.
We did. It's
Yeah. So a couple things that came up that I was, one thing that I like to do every week here is talk about some of the rulings and things, magic items you find, stuff like that. With for instance, a question came up regarding. Let me share my screen here regarding magic missile. And I think what happened, Chris? What was the question asked? I believe
if he could split targets on it.
Yeah. which I ended up, I kind of knew the answer to that. And, you are able to, being the fact that it's a 1 segment spell, which equates to 6 seconds of real time. Because 1 round is a minute, a turn is 10 minutes. We had a little debate on that, but it is in Player's Handbook. And casting that spell, you should be able to kind of zone in on and split up the missiles. So yeah, I definitely allow that, and it is in the rules. If you kind of read what it says on the Player's Handbook, it says, yeah. Let me actually bring it up here. We can.
Well, I think I'd been misled by an older version of the rules that did not delineate that you could split your targets. I don't think it said you couldn't, but I don't believe it said you could either.
Yeah, I think with Magic Missile too, I think that spell kind of evolved a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, in other versions of it, you had to roll it to hit. If I remember, I think in BX you have to roll it to hit for Magic Missile. Fred, who's online, probably will correct me because he knows BX a lot more than I do. But yeah, it says in there, if you kind of read this section, each missile does 2 to 5 points of damage. If the magic user has multiple missile capability, he or she can have them strike a single target creature or several creatures as desired. For each level of experience, magic user range of his extends 1 inch beyond 6 base, which so like a seventh level magic user can cast that 113 squares out, which is crazy. So yeah, pretty powerful spell, especially as a magic user gets higher up.
Fred brings up that some of the older versions had it as a D4 instead of a D4 plus 1. The other thing is, I believe the earliest version of it, so the little brown book version, is, as we say here, that it had an unlimited range as long as you could see your target.
Oh, wow.
Which I know is not the case under first edition. Like the one.
Yeah, they definitely give a range for it. Wow, that would be pretty powerful. That's like, hey, that guy had the sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, it was only a die 4 was why. And actually, as I remember it from the early days of gaming with some of the grognards, if you will, with the Harold Johnsons and Tim Casks and whatnot, somebody came up with the bright idea of using a wizard eye to picture someone that was somewhat farther away than you might expect, and then the magic user, because he could see his target, cast.
Oh God!
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a topic in itself where you could combine spells and use.
Well, as long as you've got a friendly neighbor mage, yes,
Yeah. Well, like with the familiar, you're able to cast through familiars too. So if a familiar's, far away, I know there's a range on familiars to be able to do that with familiars too, but you're able to cast out. The other thing that kind of came up is and I'll get here with this, is hold person. You cast hold person on when you guys came into the room where all the prisoners were at. There was a magic user, a fighter, and a merchant, and an orc that was leading them through the cages. And matter of fact, that fighter was a 7th level fighter. Magic user, I believe, was a 6th level fighter. Magic user. The merchant was nothing, and the orc was an orc, but. You instantly cast hold person on them, which you got 3 of the 4 you were going after, which was crucial in that encounter. As you guys kind of walked into that second room there, but that could have been a pretty tough battle. Those guys were, the only one that saved was the magic user, and then. You and Jeff. Oh, I forgot Jeff too. Jeff is in Sacramento. Jeff, who plays our magic user, you guys kind of ran around the cages. He threw a dagger and interrupted his spell, which was pretty crucial. That was a good sneak attack. It was very well coordinated, very well done. I'd actually like to bring up the map of that area. Let me see if I can bring up the
Well, our paladin is the one that got everybody's attention and made it all happen too. I mean, credit where credit's due.
Yes, 100%.
I get you your props, Mike.
Yeah, the paladin actually came out there, and here I'm gonna bring it. Can you guys?
Yep.
You guys see this?
Yep.
Okay, let me bring this up. I know it's me playing around. Yeah. Okay. So. Realistically, this right here, you guys were coming from the west side, crossed this slave pits area, killed the Aspis drones, came down here, and I can't remember. I think it was Dixon who heard the voices of things going on in here, and there was a merchant with his bodyguards kind of checking out all these slaves, and these slaves were yeah, this was can you guys see this okay? Yeah, we can see it. So you guys did a coordinated attack from the corner over here. Irving comes out and basically draws the attention over there while you cast Hold Person, and then it ran around and killed that magic user. Yeah, I thought it was great tactics. It was great thinking. You guys kind of huddled up about it first, and yeah, you guys kind of want to talk a little bit about that?
I think you pretty much just covered it.
Yeah.
The bold frontal assault by the paladin, and let's be honest, he had quite a decent set of backup, both with the ranger taking 2 shots around. The ranger came in just far enough so that the cages would not interfere with his bulwark. And then, of course, the dwarf came in as well and has a throwing hammer that returns. And so he's plunking, and the ranger's plunking, and Irving is creating new holes to eat food through, I guess, with his mage. And that kind of drew everybody's attention away from this crazed cleric and mage that are running along the outside of the cages from the other direction, because, of course, only one guy could bother to say anything about it because he was the only one that didn't make his Hold Person roll. And he was busy thinking, oh, my gosh, there's a large paladin that wants to separate me from my armor in the quickest and most disgusting way. So,
Yeah. I forgot to even mention that he cast slow on a bunch of you guys on the far end, but you were in time to come around and stop him in that aspect. Yeah. Some well-placed shots by the ranger for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So Hold Person was another one we brought up. I mean, what a great spell that is. You cast it on, you cast it on, let me bring it up. I actually had it up a second ago. You cast it on 4 people, right?
Right.
4? Yeah. 4, which, if you kind of read the description of the spell, if their saving throws are made, so with let me see, what does it say? If 3 or 4 persons are attacked, their saving throws are normal, but if 2 are attacked, their saving throws are made at -1, and if 1 is attacked, meaning the spell is cast on them, the saving throw versus the whole person is -3. That's tough. I mean, this is a 3rd level spell, but man,
no,
-3
2nd level spell, sweetie. That's a 2nd level spell.
No, 3rd. Look at it. Yeah, it's a 3rd level. Yep. 3rd level spell.
Okay. Evidently, my eyes are not good enough.
Yeah. So, whole person's not enough not to be. Yeah. You can kind of look up here. Level 3.
Okay, this shows level 3. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nasty spell, and I know that we were talking about it last night after the game. Hold Monster is what did we say? It was a 5th or 6th level spell,
right? Yeah. It's much higher. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the one limitation of Hold Person is you do have a list, here of creatures that are affected. And it, brownies, dryads, dwarves, elves, gnolls, gnomes, half elves, et cetera, et cetera. All the kind of humanoids, I guess. Wow, lizard man's in there too. That's interesting. Troglodytes. So very interesting list. But yeah, hold monster is going to be something that I'm going to have to deal with when you get that.
I don't know how effective that would be compared to this. This is a nice, lower level pop spell type thing. So
yeah. So, the other thing that I wanted to bring up, we had talked about somebody in the group. On the magic user, you guys found bracers of defense AC 6, and the question was, let me find it on the DMG. Can that stack with other bracers? Because I think he was already wearing bracers, and he's like, "Can I put on?" And like I said, I knew the answer. You can't, but it was kind of cool to kind of to look it up and see how they worded it. For sure. Here, let me bring this up here. There we go. Let me see here. Well, I'll find it and bring it back up. Yeah, so definitely the answer was no on
and I'm sorry, before we get too much farther though, Angelo, hold person is a 2nd level cleric spell. It's a 3rd level magic user spell.
You are correct. I had it as I was looking at the magic user side of it. Yeah.
I thought there might be something going on like that because I was like, I'm going to have to redo my spell chart if that's true.
Yeah. So interesting that for a magic user, it's 3rd level. For a cleric, it's 2nd.
And that's a great 2nd level spell. Yes. Oh my God.
That is not a great 2nd level spell. That is an amazing
from your perspective,
2nd level spell. Yeah. So thanks for the correction, because I had pulled up the magic user side of it. So yeah, interesting that is 2nd. Yeah, hold monster will hold dragons. You are correct, Fred. They will. That's what we were talking about last night. And if you do it on a single monster, I think it's a -3 on their save, which most dragons are going to save.
But yeah, that gets your odds like 9% that it won't save. Yeah,
Yeah, that takes away. Yeah, that's another 15% reduction if you look at the numbers on a D20. Yeah. So let me see. Okay, I see what I'm doing. Bracers of defense. So I was looking at the wrong. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I can make mistakes. It's our first live stream.
Never
right?
happened. No, he's teasing you folks. He never.
Well, I never make mistakes when I'm DMing, right? It's always you guys.
Because the GM is always right.
Yeah.
First edition, baby.
Yeah. So let me bring this up too. So yeah. So reading bracers of defense. Which that's a little small. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger for
some of us are old.
For Chris's horribly old eyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah. These items appear to be some sort of wrist or arm guards. Their magic bestows an effective armor class equal to actually wearing armor and employing a shield. Of course, if armor is actually worn, the bracers will not be effective, but they do work in conjunction with other magical items of protection. The armor class of bracers of defense bestow is determined by blah, 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 blah. So that's funny, guys. It doesn't say specifically that 2 sets of bracers won't stack on each other, even though I don't know how that would work. But it does say with other magic items. Somebody could argue that. But I think the question really was can I wear armor on top of it and get a better armor class? Let's say AC4 would bracers of AC6 would give you a 4 reduction, but Tim definitely stated that you can't do it here.
So
yeah. So there was something also that came up. One the magic user in the group did ask the question about casting invisibility. Chris, I know you had an opinion on that.
Well, the thing was, when I was GMing once, and
give a little background on the question, though, real quick.
Sure. When we were preparing to go after the insect-like guardians of the prison chamber, which was the first one, this is before we ran into the second chamber that had the merchant, the orc, the female fighter, and the male mage, as well as a few more orcs that Irving got rid of before they had a chance to even say hi. But before that, there was a room where there were all these recessed cages, and you had to walk along the tops and like make dex rolls. And well, while you're walking,
this room right here that's on the screen,
yeah,
which was,
these
were
insects come out with twin swords and twin shields, which is just wonderful. And our mage suggested that we go with an invisibility spell, and to sneak somebody across and maybe backstab or do some type of surprise attack. And the thing was, I don't believe he mentioned that he wanted to make himself invisible, so he was looking to make someone else invisible. And most of us have glowing magical weaponry. So here's the thing: although a personal invisibility spell will make that person and all of their gear that touches them invisible, does it stop them from radiating light? And I always thought it didn't. I mean, because if it stops you from radiating light when you turn yourself invisible, the poor human guy who's going by the light of his flaming sword becomes invisible thanks to the mage and is suddenly blind because he can't see in the dark. Right? Okay. Or does the illumination from his sword form a pattern around him that's darker in the middle, thus telling people where he is anyway? When I was GM, I always played it that it would be like a fairy fire spell, and that it would basically outline the character 2 or 3 inches away from where the character was invisible in the center of the radiation area, whatever that might be. Well, and frankly, when it came up in play, it was because the guy that wanted to make himself invisible had cast Fire Shield on himself because they were facing a dragon. And I cannot imagine Fire Shield, the illumination from it, becoming invisible. Because if I remember correctly, it extends for like 5 feet outside the area of the character. Anything that penetrates that shield takes damage from the fire, and as well as it making you fire resistant and a whole bunch of other things. So,
yeah. What was he?
What do you mean?
What was he asking?
Where I am, dude.
What was he going to cast? Was he going to cast? Was it just a standard invisibility spell that he was?
Well,
he was doing?
I don't believe he's high enough level for invisibility 10-foot radius yet. So
yeah. I'm actually going to pull that spell up and we can read it because I think that's totally up for interpretation.
Well, I think it depends on how the GM decides the physics work in that world. I mean,
I mean, yeah. I mean, too. I mean, that's the glory of old school gaming too. It's really, it's really up to the DM's interpretation. As a DM, I like to ask the group. I'll ask the team, everybody at the table. If I come to a dilemma like this, I kind of, what do you guys think? You know what I mean? And we all kind of make the determination, even though it's the DM's final say. I like to hear all the, not a judge, but you know what I mean? Just like hear all the avenues and make a educated decision on what's basically, what everybody thinks. And especially those, I mean, that's the glory of old school, I think, is it really is up to the DM. And,
and any spell that's going to bend physics a little bit, like reverse gravity spells, for instance, right? You need to, as the GM, figure out what it is that makes them work.
Yeah.
Once you've figured that out, then the rest of the questions that might get brought up by those of us who are mere players portraying characters become almost self-answered.
Yeah. So so right here it says the spell causes the recipient to vanish from sight and not be detectable by normal vision or even infravision.
Right.
Of course, the visible creature is not magically silenced with respect to, if they're walking around and stuff like that. Noise is normal to it. Let me bring this in a little bit bigger so we can kind of see this. Sorry for my. Okay. The spell remains in effect until it is magically broken or dispelled, or the magic user or the other recipient cancels it, or until he or she attacks any creature, which we all know that. You can't attack while you're invisible. Well, it stops. Thus, the spellcaster or recipient could open doors, talk, eat, climb stairs, etc. But if any form of attack is made, the invisible creature immediately becomes visible, although this will allow the first attack by a creature because of the former invisibility. So it basically dubs as a surprise. Even the allies of the spell recipient cannot see the invisible creature or her, or its gear. Unless these allies can normally see invisible things or employ magic to do so. Note that all highly intelligent creatures with a 10 or more hit die or levels of experience or equivalent in intelligence dice levels have the chance of automatically detecting them. I think there's a table for that. Material component is a blah, 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 blah. So the argument could be, Chris, that it says right there, invisible, even if the allies of the spell recipient cannot see his or her, its gear, her, or its gear.
Right.
So would that torch be considered gear?
Well, sure, the torch would be invisible, but the light that it throws goes for 60 feet.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So now when you're a couple inches away from the area that everything's invisible in, don't you have like a stark outline between brightness and the lack thereof?
Yeah. Yeah. I could see how I see your point.
Yeah.
Because
that's how I always thought fairy fire worked.
Yeah. Why is the invisibility? Yeah. Why is the invisibility spell dispelling the magical light from somebody's
magical, non-magical, any form of light that travels beyond a foot from your body? Yeah.
I wonder if that's been addressed in Sage Advice or in the DMG. There's a section that gives a little talks about spells. I'm gonna actually look that up.
Angela got some homework. Angela.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
While you look at that, I got a kick out of it. The material component is a bit of gum Arabic, and what most, I want to say, younger gamers will not understand. In the day when this was first put into layout, in those days, if you will, it was all done on paste up boards, right? And if you made a mark that you had to pull off the board, and I'm sorry, when I say paste up boards, they'd use rubber cement and they would stick like a paragraph here and a title there and a picture here. And when you'd make a mark that you wanted to erase, you used gum Arabic and it would make it disappear without leaving residue or erasure marks. So I think that was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, maybe Tim Kask joke. Ha ha! Look, we'll use gum Arabic because it'll make anything disappear, But I remember discussing that. I think it was with Tim about how funny that was that they would just suggest using gum Arabic. It's like silly putty. It lifts it right off the page if you need it to be lifted instead of leaving erasure marks.
So, Michael, as a DM, how would you rule the invisibility predicament or whatever you want to call it?
Well, okay, so I would look at it as kind of a quasi-scientific way. So
here we go. Science and magic. I love it.
Okay. Well, also it's like magic and sufficiently advanced science are pretty much interchangeable. Anyway,
Of course. I
I would look at it as that what the spell would do is either wrap the light around the caster, or it would basically make them
not reflect any.
Well, non-reflective. Well, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that it would make them somewhat quasi multidimensional, whereas any light that is reflected from behind them isn't going to be stopped by their person. Now that would stop light from affecting the user or the caster, but if they have a light source, that light source is going out, so that the reflection capability of the invisibility spell is not effective. It's kind of like one-way mirror or two-way mirrors. The person on one side, will be able to see their reflection, but not from beyond it, whereas the people on the other side will be able to see it. Now, if they turn on a light in that room, then the person on the other side will be able to see them.
Right. Yeah, I figured either it bent the light around you so that you just saw what was around the person because no light reflected because it bent around, or the person and their gear became completely transparent and reflected none of the light back to the eyes of the beholder. And both of those are good, solid physics answers. The problem is, if you've got something that radiates the light beyond the scope of the spell, that should show up as a strange light source floating around in the air of some kind, whether it's your bow dog or a flaming mace or whatever it might be. It should extend beyond that range if it's a personal invisibility spell.
I would rule it that the light can be seen, but for effect, that it's not going to be seen clearly. It will be somewhat dimmed, or it will be
give a couple bumps on their armor class or something. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So if they're holding, say, a torch, then it's going to be dim. It's not going to look like a torch,
right?
But it's going to be like a vague outline of light. If using like a lantern, say a bullseye lantern, it's only going to be visible from the
one angle,
and it'll be a little bit more clear than the torch is, but it would still look not like a light source. Light source.
The guy that I was playing with at the time cast fire shield, for gosh sakes. I mean, Wow. Okay. Yeah. It almost seemed to me that invisibility on top of a fire shield was futile at best. Anyway. But.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of referring to in the DMG where there's that section on page, in the page 40s where they talk about some of the clarifications on some of the spells. You guys aren't going to be able to see this, but here where they talk about, they do have an entry in here for invisibility, third level magic user spell. Second level magic user spell. God, I'm getting my levels wrong tonight, dude.
I wasn't on it. I was going to let you just have that one.
Oh. Hey, you guys need to fact check me on these spell level stuff. So anyway, second level invisibility. Wow,
you just laugh.
That's another thing. So a magic user at second level is a third level magic user can cast invisibility. That's pretty nasty. So it says here as the addendum or the clarification, it says see the invisibility section under the adventure in bold, which means in the player's handbook. So I pulled the player's handbook out on page 102, and it says nothing about it.
If there was going to be a test,
about,
he'd known. He
it talks about invisible movement, which it says by various magical means it is possible to become invisible and move about. Invisibility bestows by the cloak of Elvenkind exceeds to what it covers. A ring or spell of invisibility offers superior invisibility. Wow. Note that none mask light.
There you go.
Booyah.
There, boom.
Well,
So it says right there. So the invisible character cannot move about with a light source and be unseen, for the light will be noticed even though it's bare and possibly its source or not. I'm fucking amazed.
For now, Angelo nothing, Chris won. Okay. There we go.
We get.
These are his friends, people. I mean, oh my goodness.
What do we do here? Do we just go like this and just hang on a second?
Nope.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah. There's your prize.
Yeah, there's your prize. Well, that's crazy. I need to highlight that. I need to etch it in memory. I need to, yes, I am highlighting in my player's handbook.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's weather torn.
If you decide that the illumination from the torch is also invisible, just because it's your world, dude.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying that's really cool. That's really cool that it was thought out. And, one gripe I have about it is why doesn't it say that in the actual spell description? But, they wanted to put it in. Yeah. Anyways, whoever edited this book, is that a word? Edited?
It is.
Edited. Yeah. Wow, that answers that mystery. Wow, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So,
thank you for your concise answer, Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dog the Ranger. Yeah. By the way, I will say, Ryan's character. You've done some pretty good write-ups in the blog regarding your fill in the blanks for certain things about your ranger and being a member of the Rangers of the Gnarly Forest and kind of your motivations and stuff. What a great character Dog the Ranger is.
Like totally gnarly, dude.
The gnarly forest.
It's like gnarly to the max.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, unless anybody else had any other topics about the game, I'm good. Okay, there he goes. Now my camera's starting to do this movement thing. Look at this. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess until next week. Any shameless plugs before we split?
Wow. Well, we're moving forward on Castle Wolfmoon stuff. There's a long list of things that need to be done. So I won't tell you that we're well into it because we're not. We're just still at the beginning of, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Yeah.
Worst thing to tell an old person, but okay. Yeah.
Worst thing to tell a person. What do you got plans for the weekend, Chris?
I supposedly the salmon are running on my stream that borders my property. So I'm going to see if that's true. I got to cut down a few trees because people are complaining that the fireplace hasn't been going constantly because it's getting colder. And I forget, my wife wanted me to, I have to install a concrete step for my wife. Other than that, gaming stuff.
Yeah. Michael, what did you got going on this weekend? And what are you working on right now? I know you got some stuff you can.
Working on the next installment of the interlude story on the blog, the Dark Hommlet blog.
Tell a little bit about that because that's actually kind of cool. It was based on Well, tell it what it was about. You talk. I'll be
okay. So the basis of the story is that after our intrepid band had rescued a elven noblewoman from the Temple of Elemental Evil, she returns home and is planning on sending a thank you reward to these adventurers. Well, I reasoned that somebody had to take it. So what I did was our fine Mr. Rourke had an idea for a half-elven character, and I incorporated that. I have a character who is like one of my first characters I ever played. He is a Prince of Selene. So yeah, Queen Yolande of Selene is Mummy, as well as a couple other miscreants characters that from my own character stable are enlisted to take this treasure to Hommlet for the heroes of Hommlet. And they have some misadventures along the way. So as they were leaving Selene, a freak blizzard struck, and looking for shelter, they found a tower, and they entered it. And the tower is not deserted entirely. I'll leave it at that.
So this character that you're kind of spun this story off of was somebody that you guys met in the Temple of Elemental Evil. Lady, I'm going to butcher the name, Selene?
Selene?
No, not Selene.
Talari? Anyway, she's one of the prisoners you guys freed, who was actually a princess of Selene. So Selene.
Actually, a countess.
Countess, yes.
Yeah.
You guys freed her, and she and her escort went back to the Selene. I butchered the names of that all the time. It's the Elven, the Elven domain that borders the gnarly forest,
and the Cron Hills, and
Cron Hills. So this story is spun off from those characters, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, in the stream there, I put the links of the two. That first one's chapter 1, I believe, and then the second one's chapter 2, which I think that's kind of awesome. You're adding a lot of flavor to the story. I was talking about that. Well, I think I have a video coming out tomorrow where I talk about collaboration, and Chris and I talked a little bit about it yesterday too. I think that's such a huge point for any campaign. Like, it's not always on the DM. Like, it's great that other people have contributed and kind of thrown ideas at me. Fred always throws ideas. Well, what about doing this? And what about that? And I can always say, give him the, what is this? You give him the F you.
Oh, I think that's a Tiger Wong move, isn't it?
Yeah, the Tiger Wong. I can say, but it's great to pull those ideas. And this is a great example of that, because this could be a side adventure of some sort. Side quest.
One of the things that I really like when I'm DMing is my players to create backstories and little history for the characters. Yeah, one, it fleshes that character out as a person, and I think it's more fun to play that way. Plus, also I can take hints from their backstories. Yeah, and for example, if they mention that they were orphaned, then I could at some point they find out how their parents died, who killed them, and where they are, and so there might be an adventure there.
Yeah.
Speaking of backstories, you remember when we were in the Temple of Elemental Evil, when we were all really tugging on a door? I threw my back out, and it's quite a story, actually. But yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. I had just one.
Yep.
Wait. What's that?
Well, I hope you picked it back up
sound
again.
Effects. I need sound effects, and I need to be fast with it, and I need a hotkey. So I'll look into that for you. But anyways,
right.
You'll just have to
Here you go.
deal with this.
Oh,
yeah.
The ranger is nearby.
The ranger shoots you. Those are great points. Those are really great points. Really great points. Anyways, dog, parting words. What are you doing this weekend? What do you got? What are you barbecuing? I know you're gonna do something. You always send me pictures of some type of meat.
I got pork chops laid out right now, but other than that, work.
Yeah. How's the weather on the East Coast? I know that you said the temperature dropped pretty.
It's wacky. 70s and then the 40s and then the 50s.
You had a 30-degree drop.
Yeah.
It's
wild.
Yeah. We're still pretty cold over here. It only gets a little bit below freezing here nighttime, but the days are in the 50s. Still, I don't want it to come, but it's still waiting for that snowfall to. Jesus.
But Santa Claus and stuff. All right.
Well, up until then, we could have a nice, clear, easy Thanksgiving. But here in Montana, like I would say the last couple of years, 3 years ago, we had a dump that stayed around in early October, and it didn't go until May. Like it was, I had a foot of snow in my backyard. I'm just saying consistently, through the season.
But that's the time you get more game
now, which is really nice to have a fall in Montana. So you don't definitely get that, but all right. Well, gentlemen, anything else?
I don't think
that
so.
doesn't. Okay. Well, anyways, guys, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. So we have a couple people watching. Fred's out there, my buddy Fred, who he will have him on the show sometime. He's me and Fred and I. That's the proper right. Fred and I have been gaming together since 1981.
When they were 3. No.
Yeah. So we survived the satanic panic together. Our mothers were whoa. Yeah, it was nuts. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for joining. What we're gonna try to do is, I know this is Thursday, but we're gonna try to do a Wednesday recap session, shoot the shit, whatever. We might not even talk about the game, but live stream. So that's what we're going to try to do. So that's what we have to look forward to. And I'm sure as we go, we'll get better.
So a game recap where the incredible feats performed by Terry Orr the Cleric are, of course, showcased for his innumerable fans. And there'll probably be a word or two about like Irving or something. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see what Dog finds out.
I'm sure all one of your fans so appreciate that.
So where's Terry Orr? He's in the chest. That's the one that wiggles a little bit. Yeah, that's him.
What does it say? What Fred say? It's Vietnam, Mom. This is recon. Oh yeah. So that was it. So to back what the comment he just said. And Fred, I have it somewhere on the shelf over here. My copy of Recon. So we used to cover up our D&D books with other games that were not sword and sorcery, and it was so there was so much effort into hiding D&D back in the days.
And why is there no camouflage spell? That should be like, if invisibility is second level, it should be a first level mage spell, camouflage. They have blur and blend now, don't they? I think for 5th edition.
Blur, I think, is a illusionist spell.
Yeah. Okay.
There's probably Here we go. Me messing up the spell list. I'm supposed to know this stuff. Yeah. Blur is a.
We
Blur
were
is a
in the middle of
level
ending the
illusionist
show,
spell. I think magic users don't. Yeah, you're right. They don't. Clerics probably don't either. It's more of an illusionist thing. That'd be neat. Yeah, first level a camouflage spell. Yeah. Anyways, blue is.
No, never mind. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody. Thanks again.
Until next time.
Until next week. And by the way, this channel, we have a video coming out tomorrow where I talk about some DM tips. There's going to be a whole series of that. And got other content coming out next week. And then we're going to recap, like I said, next Wednesday and hang out. So thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
Good being here, man.